Hi, everybody. So, I've interviewed a former client of mine called Lindy. She lives in Australia, and we had five Skype sessions, and she's been willing to share her story with you guys. I hope you will enjoy, and I hope you'll recognize yourself in some of the things that she talks about.
I'm Lindy and I'm 41 years old and I live in Grafton, Australia, which is a little small town outside, sort of 3 hours south of Brisbane. And I've had what I think is this eating addiction pretty much all of my life. I'm pretty sure I've had memories of about 5 years old not having a good relationship with food. And since I've probably been about a teenager, I have tried various ways to probably control it or heal it or discover the basis of it and overcome it. But unfortunately, until I met Miriam, I couldn't find a solution to it.
All right. So you've actually experienced this overeating since you were about 6 to 7 years old. And
Yes.
that's quite a lot of time to battle addiction with food and to battle an unhealthy relationship with food. When we started our sessions, what did you think about your overeating? Can you remember? What emotions did you
I
have
thought it
about
was
it?
something. Uh, I remember having of hopelessness, thinking I was never going to be able to control it. I was never going to be able to not have thoughts about overeating, that food would be consistently on my mind, and uh, the next binge was always there. Yeah, it was just a constant fear and anxiety that I felt pretty much from the moment I woke up, that the day, no matter how positive I started it, it was always going to end at some point in a binge. There was always going to binge. So there was always that anxiety that followed me all the time, and it didn't and nothing had to trigger it. It was just, yeah, just there, and yeah, sort of like living on the edge, I suppose. It's just not a nice way to live. Like, I was always anxious and never relaxed, because all I could think about was the food and sort of getting that hit.
Yeah.
And once I got that hit, then that didn't last long.
Okay.
It was always, the next day came, and what I was going to do then. So it was just a constant state of anxiety, and then, okay, I could relax, but then I'd wake up the next day and the anxiety would happen again. And there was just no way I could get rid of it. If I
So,
tried to control it or stop it, it would raise its head even worse.
it sounds really awful, but it also sounds very normal for overeaters. I meet a lot of overeaters that feel this way, and it's terrible. It's really a terrible sickness. So during the
Yes, it
years,
is.
what did you try to overcome your overeating, and did anything help?
No, I've tried a lot of things. Like I said, the first option was I went to uni and studied psychology myself, and then I found that probably was not the best idea because you can't really fix yourself.
Yeah.
Then I tried the 12-step programs, and then I realised, because I wasn't a religious person, I tried the atheist 12-step programs, but I found them to be very negative. I did go and see a psychologist, but they were sort of not very good at dealing with eating disorders per se. They were just sort of gave me sort of like a 5-point plan, which I think they tried to put to any addiction. It wasn't eating disorder based, and that didn't really work.
No.
I mean, I've tried diets, I've tried not eating, I've tried pretty much everything,
Yeah.
but just nothing worked.
All right. That sounds really frustrating, though.
Yeah, it was a constant cycle, and every time something didn't work, you kind of felt worse off than what you did before, because you thought, I tried to give something a go and I failed, and then you try something else and I failed again. So the binges sort of got worse and worse, and I think they actually got bigger and sort of turned into just some sort of monster in the end that wasn't there to begin with.
Yeah.
Because of this constant state of, I can't do it, I'm failing, I've definitely got a disease, and it sort of grew worse and worse over the years.
Yeah. So did you find our sessions helpful?
Yeah, I found what I thought Skype, and with you, there was sort of a pressure taken off. You offered me something that could fit my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And the level of care and therapy that I needed. And you offered that in a way where there was no manual, there was no book I had to read, there was no meetings I had to attend, there was no weekly things I had to do. You just listened, you gave me notes so I knew what I had said, and I could share those thoughts with you through that app that we shared together.
Yeah, the food
So that to me was something that I could work at my own pace. It wasn't a weekly thing I had to do. We were talking, and I knew you were just an email away if I was having dramas. And as the weeks went past, that's when you went, okay, let's have another session to see how I was going.
Yeah.
And it was a really laid-back approach that I didn't have to do anything, like read anything or read any theories or sort of do anything other than talk to you, and you listened. And that was something that I think lacks in a lot of other programs. They don't listen. They just come up with, this is what you need to do. And sometimes that doesn't fit for all addictions. And that was where I got what I needed from you.
All right.
Because you listened to me when no one else did.
Okay, so do you still think of your overeating as your enemy?
No, I don't, because I haven't done it for a very long time, and it's not. Now I realise I don't think it was the eating so much. It was the voice inside me that needed to be heard.
Yeah.
And now that I listen to that voice, the eating, I think, was just a way to deal with emotions that I'd never felt before, or deal with a way to quieten that inner voice. But now I just listen to it. I mean, you know, my inner voice the other day tried to put rules on me.
Yeah.
And I said, that's fine. Put rules on me, or try and tell me what I'm going to do tomorrow. But I'm not going to decide what I'm going to do until tomorrow.
Yeah.
That when I wake up, I will decide what I'm going to do. And that's the difference. As where before, that would have been a major anxiety attack. Okay. And the food would have come out, and I would have tried to shove that little voice down. All right. But now I listen to it, and I wonder why this person is trying to put rules on me for tomorrow that hasn't even come yet. So the eating doesn't sort of happen anymore because, well, first of all, there's no food that is out of bounds. So I'm allowed to eat whatever I want when I want. So that's one of the main things. And I listen when the voice talks to me. And I think, well, what are you really trying to say? And that's a huge difference for me.
Yes,
it's okay to feel, and sometimes it's okay to not feel good. And I've realised that, okay, I don't feel good. That's fine. I don't have to go and, put all these rules that I have to do tomorrow, and I'm not going to eat, or I have to eat like this. I don't listen to that anymore. It's like, okay, I don't feel good. That's fine.
So it sounds to me as if your process has been very emotional, and also it sounds to me a bit as if you've returned to yourself, so to speak. You found yourself in the process.
Yes, and that was, I suppose, a lot of it. I'm walking meditation, which I think is really good. So now when I walk in the morning, I like to think, and I like to think of a lot of things. What has been upsetting me, and I've been forgiving myself, or been forgiving other people, because I've tried to find what is upsetting about me, and then I'll often find that something that upsets me about another person is probably the best that they can do. That's the best that they could do at that time.
Yeah.
And so I've forgiven them because there are some things I haven't done very nice or very well, and I've forgiven myself because that's the best I knew how to do it that time. So I've done a lot of forgiving of myself and others because that's what we did. We did it at the time because we didn't know any better.
That sounds beautiful.
And that I used to, and I used to feel really cranky and really angry at everybody because they have affected me or, said stuff or made decisions that weren't in favour for me. And I thought, well, maybe they thought that was the right thing at the time. So, that sort of has changed and I suppose released a lot of anger, and I can sort of see from other people's perspectives that it's okay. Not everyone does the right thing all the time.
No, that's true. We all make mistakes, and that's part of life. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's okay. Like, I'm not perfect.
No, but you're good enough. Certainly. Certainly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a big thing. I do have to accept that, and it is okay. It is okay. I have been doing all right, and that was really hard to just say, you know what, I am okay. I've done mistakes. Other people have, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We all try. We're all good people.
So if it's possible, could you maybe say a few words comparing how you feel now to when you started? Like, what has there been any significant changes in general or specific ones or?
I think the changes, I suppose, that there's been a lot of letting go. I think is one of the main things. I used to get very uptight physically because I used to overthink a lot, and overthink the same things over and over again. And now, by just accepting that it's happened, accepting that people are not perfect, and that they've done what they've done, and that's okay, it's like emotionally and physically, I can feel it sort of relaxing me, and I'm sort of enjoying life and relaxing, taking each sort of day, like each moment. And I know that sounds really bizarre, but I'm sort of enjoying the now. It's before I used to be always thinking tomorrow, or the binge, the hours ahead, or I'm going to change tomorrow. It was always later, or if anyone got in my way or affected my plans, I would snap and be very cranky. As we're now, it's like I try to be calm. I'm not always calm. That's okay because, people push you, especially I've got 3 kids.
Of course, yeah.
But there's just a sense of, I stop and I think. And I go, okay, well, how do I feel?
Yeah.
It's okay to feel, or, they're just kids, or that person might have had a bad day, I'm just a lot calmer and accepting of how life is.
Okay.
That's all. Okay. Yeah.
So we've had 4 sessions now, and do you still think of yourself as an overeater? Do you feel as if you've overcome overeating? Or are you still in the process of letting go? Do you believe that you can let go of overeating now? And has there been any significant changes in your eating pattern?
Yeah, I don't see myself as an overeater at all. Like I said, my eating patterns, where you said I could eat whatever I want, have completely changed.
Okay.
I don't stop myself from eating anything. But I look at things and I think, well, do I want it? Because if I want it, I can have it.
Yeah.
But there is not that anxiety that sort of builds up in me like it used to. I used to, oh my gosh, I'd be so scared to go to the shops because the smell of the bakery or the look of the chocolate, it was really difficult for me.
Yeah.
Like an experience. But now it's fine. I look at it and I say, okay, will I get it today? No, I won't. That's fine. I won't get it. And I look at the muffins and I think, well, actually, they don't really look that appetizing. I could have them if I want to, but I don't.
Yeah.
There's just a calmness now around food that I've never experienced before.
I also seem to remember that in the start of our sessions, there wasn't a sense of you trusting yourself around food. And what I hear now is that you are actually trusting yourself around food. You don't need to be anxious around food. You don't need to have rules around food. You can simply ask yourself, well, do I really want this? Yes or no? And sometimes it will be, no, I don't want this, and then it's not a problem. And sometimes it will be, yes, I would really enjoy this cake. Okay, well then we'll eat it. Is that true?
Yeah, and I had one today. We had some food at school, and it was a case of I will go over and I will pick whatever I want. And I just had 2 pieces of a sandwich and some dip and crackers and some chocolate balls.
Yeah.
And there was no anxiety. There was no taking more than what I needed. There was just a simple of, I'm going to taste 3 things. They look delicious. And that was it. I was happy with that. And yeah, it was probably the most normal or relaxed I've ever felt in that sort of situation.
All right.
Where, yeah, it was just what other people had brought, and there was just, no sort of worry. It was just eat what I felt like eating. I felt full, so I stopped.
That sounds really relaxing and as if you are really free in comparison to at the start of our sessions where you weren't really free.
No, I wasn't, and that's what it was nice about it. It was a very nice day. I spoke with a lot of people in a social situation, which normally I'd be very nervous with. And I just ate sort of a nice amount of food, and it was just a very nice, peaceful day. And I thought, well, wow, I've come a long way since those few weeks ago where I just would have been very nervous and then physically sweated.
Yeah.
And maybe been a little bit jittery, but there was none of that sensation. It was just a nice, relaxed sort of garden party, and it was great.
It sounds beautiful, Lindy.
Yes.
I'm so happy.
I'm a lot more relaxed now than what I used to be.
I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for
Yes.
you. It sounds as if you've really come a long way in just 4 sessions, and you really took all the the foodscape in our sessions, and you worked hard, and here you are. That's really, really beautiful. What did you think?
Yeah, well, it was a combination of what you suggested. We did the foodscape, and then I did the mind map where I wrote any thoughts down, which I think really helped because that makes it on the page. It's not just a thought, it's actually been written down.
Yeah.
And then I've done the meditation.
Yeah.
And I think the meditation, brings a lot of it up that you don't think.
Yeah. What did you think about the foodscape? Was it a helpful tool?
Yeah, because if it wasn't there, and that's what I think is sometimes wrong, especially when you go and see a psychologist and you're sitting down and you're talking to them. When you leave, you go, oh, what did I say again? You can't remember.
No.
So when I can go back any time, even in a year's time, and read exactly what we've written down.
Yeah. And
it's not your interpretation. You literally jotted down notes that were coming out of my mouth.
Yes.
And that's the difference.
Yeah.
And I think, actually reading and going, right, okay, yep, that's what I said. That's what we need to work on, and it's sort of like you had them attached to how your thoughts sort of ran from here to there and then sort of skip back to there, I think were very important.
Okay.
I can't explain how different I was from when I initially read that stuff on Quora to now. It's just, I'm like a completely different person.
That's so beautiful.
It's just amazing. And someone who I'm going to continue to improve myself.
Yes, you are.
That's what I like about it. It's not a stopping thing. I know I'm just going to keep going because I've been given the tools to keep going. And it's effortlessness. I just do it every day. It's now incorporated into my day. everything that I do.
So
So
I think
yeah, it's great.
I think actually you just said something very, very important. You said it was effortless. So it wasn't this
Yeah.
struggle. It wasn't this struggle trying to let go of overeating and having all these rules and control and each day really struggling to let it go. You speak as if it was like a natural thing, an effortless thing, and that you could keep on going effortlessly. And I think that's beautiful.
Yes, it was. That's the key, I suppose. There were no rules. It was you gave me the tools, and it just came so naturally.
Yeah.
And when something comes up, a few months, a few years later, you think, "Yep, okay, let's work through this." And there's no, I have to go back to the textbook or I need to go back to the meeting,
No.
because yeah, it's all there. It's a natural thing, and it's a very beautiful way to provide the therapy, to give you those tools that you've given me. It's definitely not hard to do at all.
Well, Lindy,
Yeah,
I'm so happy for your feedback. Thank you so much for doing this. And I'm so happy to hear about your process and happy to hear that you've let go of overeating and how much you've actually evolved, not just in your eating patterns, but also in the way you look at yourself and the way you look upon the world. And you've decreased your anxiety levels a huge amount, it sounds as if, and
yes.
you really come a long way. So just thank you so much, and congratulations. I feel like saying, and
I know. Well, I have to thank you, because I think if it wasn't for someone to listen and go back and tell me what I've just said, sort of in my, like in your words, but coming out of my mouth, and then saying, okay, this is what I think you need to work on, and making me face up to my own emotions,
yeah,
then I don't think I would have changed. I think it's the fact that you made me feel safe in feeling again, and it's okay to feel.
yeah,
That's how come I've made a huge jump. You really tailored it to me. And I think that was a difference between a normal program, a book, or going to meetings, as opposed to dealing with you. It was really tailored to the way I needed the treatment, which I think is the difference.
wow, thank you so much, Lindy.
Yes.
So that's it for now. Thank you very much, Lindy, for sharing your story, and thank you for your time and attention. I hope that you found some new insight towards your own story. And if you like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, you can give it a like, or you can leave a comment. I hope you have a great day. Bye.